started his own yeshiva in Beis Medrash called Mishkan Moshe, and Mussar will write which Chaim Chakowski did there, in the center of town. I want to say over a little bit. I wanted to say over to record a little bit. I said and add a few new dimensions to it, but really an extension of what I said yesterday in a very important concept. I asked you, if you have foreground and background, means what's in front of me, what's behind me. When I speak to you, who am I speaking to? And what is this story? So I'd like to say, I said yesterday, that my foreground is Hashem. Hashem. When I come into the world, I'm now in God's palace, and I'm now speaking to Hashem. I'm doing your Tzona in front of Hashem. Now as I'm in front of Hashem, out comes, this guy comes running by, this guy, I meet you, I do what I'm doing. So it's really all in front of Hashem. So I said, if you read the Igeres HaRamban, and the Ramban's letter says that a person should be machashev, that Hashem is in front of him. It's a big chiddush on you. Why? So what do? So automatically, if you're in front of Hashem, how do you act in front of Hashem? So the Ramor brings down, if a guy gets up in the morning, how does he act in front of Hashem? Can he be unsneers? Can he say, I'm tired? Or does he have to have energy right away? Because God sees him, he's in front of Hashem. How does he act? When you speak your Lashon Hara, or knock down people, how are you doing it? In front of Hashem? With all the good motivations you have, what are you doing? You're in front of Hashem. So in front of my father, I got to do it. There's something wrong, I got to do it. I got to tell the person off. I got to be. And we're going to discuss that point, very important. So, but anyway, you feel you're right, it has to be done, l'shem shamayim. But you got to remember, your foreground is, right in front of you is Hashem. And you're in the Palmai of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and the Shekhinah is now in front of you. On you, so now when you speak, you speak in front of Hashem. Who's your audience? Hashem. Not that you're listening to me, but audience Hashem. You happen to be here also. What are you in my audience? Very simple. So the Ramban explained. V'tich bayesh mikol adam. Since you are a Tzelem Elokim, and God created you, so I'm now in front of Hashem. And in front of Hashem, He has the Srafim, the Fani Achara, Kodesh, and the Malachim, and He also has, the human being has the world in front of Hashem. So now when you're here, you are now part of front of Hashem. So even though you are a rat, you're not just panim, and you speak Lashon Hara, Mavaza panim shel Chavero, and the Rabbi, and all the terrible things in the world you do. Would you mechuyev misa for and not be cursed and buried? Whatever you do, the worst thing in the world, you are terrible, you deserve all the arba misas bezdin. All it can be. Yet, since you're in the Pamaya Kodesh Baruch Hu, let's say one of the guards did something wrong to you, or a guy in the soldier in the army, or the captain did something wrong. And he really stole, he did bad, terrible things, and it affects you. What do? You don't know what to do. Why? He's the corporal, he's the general, he's the guy that signs the document. He's in front of the king. Let the king say something. The king has to say, but no good. I got to tell him no good. The king sees, knows all, so the king has to take care of the guy. Guy speaks Lashon Hara, Nivul Paz, whatever it may be. Hashem has to take care of the guy, and Hashem take care of the guy. Don't worry. Take care, good care. Don't worry about it. He'll take care. But meanwhile, how do I look at the guy? I still have to have Busha in front of him. Why? Because Hashem keeps him alive, even though he's a Rasha, Marusha, but it must be there's something in him that is needed for the kiyum of the world, otherwise he doesn't live. He should die away. Why should he be around? Must be that he has a reason. Whatever it is. The spider has his reason, and that has a reason, so he must be around. So therefore, even in front of that, Rasha, Marusha, there's Arba Mises Bezin, who's Kaifika, knocks out, Bavayish, who knows what he does. All the worst things in the world. What has happened? Because in the Pamai, this is a big Kiddush, because of this, I said, I have a wonderful Kiddush. I have a new Kiddush. If this is true, I have a little Kiddush. I tell over the story, it says, Zohar, remember what Hashem did to Miriam. So I said, because of this, I'll go over the story of Miriam, and maybe I'll have a little chiddush in the story of Miriam. The story of Miriam, I have a new understanding of what happened. So I tell her, what's the story of Miriam? What's the story of Miriam? Okay. What's the story of Miriam? Interesting story. The story goes that, according to the Sifri, there's a machlokes in what happened. According to the Sifri, Tzipora is not getting dressed nicely. Eina mitkashetet. Tachshite noshen. She's not dressing. What's happening? She's not dressing up beautiful. She doesn't wear the old clothing. She's not wearing new clothing and putting on, getting stuff excited. What's happening to this young lady? Tzipora, right? So, Ormala. So, Miriam says to her, how come? How come you're not doing it? What's happening? You're not veilous. You don't go and buy new clothing. What happened? What's the story? So she spills the beans. She says, "Ein achicha makbid bedavar." I mean, we're not having a relationship as husband and wife, proper husband and wife relationship. Ooh, Miriam hears. After Tzipora spills the beans, she said, "What's happening over here?" So she runs to her brother, and they say, "What's coming off?" We'll discuss. According to Rashi, that's not the story. The story is with Eldad and Medad. Eldad and Medad, Miriam is now by Tzipora, and Tzipora they hear that Eldad and Medad is making a nevuah, and there's going to be a Navi, and they say, so everyone says, wow, what a wonderful, great thing that you're going to be a Navi. He said, what's the big deal, Navi? When you become a Navi, you stay away from the wife. Stay away from the wife. Tzipora spills the beans. that if you're a Navi, you stay away from the wife. Is that the normal way to live life? Is that the derech HaTorah to live life? You don't stay with your wife? What is that? What is this? No pruvu? That's a normal way to live life? What is that? What is the story here? Because you're learning Torah, that's the head of it. What's the story is it? Right? They get excited and nervous. They have reasons why. Right? Okay, we'll see right away. So right away she spilled the beans and they get nervous. Very nervous. So what do? They talk with each other. Right? So they talk a little more. They talk about the woman. So Shai, what do you mean they talk about the woman? So the Rashbam learns Pshat a little differently. Since he was 40 years in Kush, so he had this woman, this Malka, and he never had Bia with her. So they said, according to the Rashbam, the way how the Malbim learns Pshat, is they said, listen, he stayed 40 years with this woman in Kush. He's going to do the same thing to Tzipora, his wife? No way. What's his business? What kind of derech did he have in Chaim? Huh? That's according to the Malbim, even the Rashbam. Other people learn Pshat. Listen, I understand the reason why the husband stays away from the wife. She turned ugly. I don't want to say she turned ugly, and she's not a good woman. She's a nasty person, but she's a kusha. She's beautiful, outside and inside. What reason do you have that she go away from the wife? The husband should go away from the wife. What's the story? Why should he leave her? What's the story? Why did he stay with her? What reason? So what are you going to answer? So they go to Aaron, and they tell over the story. Okay? So the story goes that they tell over the story of what happened. So Aaron says simply, according to the Malbim, he says, listen, listen, in order to learn Torah, you have to have 3 days, we said, prepare yourself. To learn Torah, you have to be Tohor. So we said not to pray, not to fast, not that. Well, you should be Tohor. And if you're Tohor, so you have to be Tohor. So you stay away 3 days from women to learn the Torah, to be Tohor. That's what it says. So except they went back and Moshe went up. So he continued being Tohor. What's the problem? So they creep into the problem and say, what do you mean? What do you mean Tohor? Moshe Rabbeinu is according to the Malbim. Before Shem explained it, goes on. Listen, Moshe Rabbeinu is the tzinoor of Nevuah for everybody. He's definitely bigger than us, no shot about it. But it comes from Tiv'o, it's his nature. Certain people are smart by nature, certain people are kind by nature, and they're leaders by nature. And we have to do hachana. We have to do what? Zihir preparation. Zihir is used to keep precious in order to be a Navi. We have to prepare ourselves. So if he is the Navi through automatically, so what's his problem? Why does he have to retire himself and stay away? It comes anyway, and even with us, when we're not prepared, we're not so Torah, Hashem says us too. We're all over the place. What's the problem? Not as a machlekes is, did they talk between themselves, Miriam and Aaron, or did they tell also Moshe Rabbeinu? So the Sifri holds between themselves, and there's one day of Rav Nosson, which is Day Yechidah, those learn the Gemara. Day Yechidah holds that he said it in front of Moshe. They say it between themselves. That they say, oh, Moshe. Okay. So they say this thing, and what happens? Pitom, the Chazal says Pitom, right? Right, okay. Pitom. What happens Pitom? So Rashi learns Pitom. What happens Pitom? Pitom is Hashem visits them. Wow, they just did a wonderful thing. They just try to help their brother, and that he should be with his wife. What great, wonderful thing they did. They found out Pi Halacha, he should keep the Teva, and it's against the Teva, it's Das Torah, that they should be with a wife. It's anti-Das Torah, you don't be with your wife, and that's the way to live normal life, that's Das Torah. And right away they feel good, because they see results. Ding, 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 Pitom Hashem sees Nevuah. Got to reward it right away. Well, there's no greater reward than I'm trying to do a good thing, I see reward right away. Okay? They get immediate reward of Nevuah. So what happened when they got to Nevuah? One thing happened. What happened was, they said, Mayim. How can we go get close to Hashem? He called in, we need to be Matahir. So according to the Mefarshim, at that point we take the picture, and we stop the frame, we look what's happened. At that point, Hashem was giving them Mussar. You just hold claim against Moshe Rabbeinu that he was B'koyach HaTeva, he doesn't need to stay away from his wife, because what it will be. You see, right now when you're getting Nevuah, you're saying Mayim. Yeah, we got to go to the mikvah, we got to be purified. What's going to happen? How are we going to go to see Hashem? We're not pure, because Hashem is Torah. How we get close to Hashem? We're not Torah. We're still dirty, filthy. That's why a lot of non-religious people don't get close to religion, because they feel they're not pure or holy. How can they get to God when God is pure and holy? How can they? God sees right through me. How can I get close? I'm a nothing. I'm a nobody. They have this problem. Anyway, so at this point, I want to give a new pshat. I put it in my pshat by explaining the Ramban. Very simple. What was their problem? Their problem was, and this is brought down by the Rambam in Hilchos Botzer at the end. He says very simply. He says that although Miriam loved her brother, and although Miriam raised the brother and ran after to help the brother, they only want to do the Shem Shamayim. And they have a good taina, teva. You have to live with your wife. How can it be? They have a good taina, strong taina. But they didn't evaluate giving value to Moshe properly, which is Lashon. What is Lashon Hara? Lashon means giving wrong evaluation to yourself and then to others. If you say that, even for yourself. Because it says Hashem Shoma Devorim. According to the Sifron, they didn't say nobody. Even themselves, they got that. They had a wrong evaluation of what who Moshe Rabbeinu is. They put themselves on the same level, and they criticized and had a good reason. Teva, all kinds of swear, Das Torah, all kinds of swear. They knew from this, all kinds of swear. But they did another big sin, and that was against God. Because if he's a creation of God, and God selected him, so God should review what happened with God. He went against God, as if God did not make the right judgment. Who says that? The Bible says that. The Mefarshim say, all you read the Mussar, he went against God. Not only the person, but God. And because that Pitom, Hashem came. Now, why? So what was the answer, according to me, the new Chiddush? Pitom Hashem comes down. So now they realize what was their mistake. Their mistake was they didn't have the understanding that they're in front of Hashem. Because you're in front of Hashem, according to the Ramban, you have to be mitbayesh in front of anybody. And you don't, where you come along to criticize. According to the Ramban, you always look better. Be positive. See the positive points in everybody. And what did you see? A negative point. And you had a criticism of Moshe and a criticism of Hashem. How can you pick the guy? What's happening? So you criticize. Good. You have a reason why. You have Das Torah. You feel this, you feel that. But then basically, you misevaluated because you were missing the being Oimei Lifnei Hashem and realizing that God is in the foreground and this guy's on the background. And you have Mevaish Micholodam. They were missing that basic point in understanding what could be. And okay, if you have a problem, if you have a criticism, there's a place. Rabbeinu, what do you do? Yes, how should they have done? What should they have said? And they could have thought about it, and they know we know we're wrong. But explain what? Explain Yolamdeinu. You know what I mean? And Hashem had to explain to them. So because of that, my chiddush is that there's another way of seeing that. The pitom and coming there itself was the solution. Just like they said, the pitom was, Mayim was the solution. So according to the Ramban, the pitom that came down was the solution. But you're in front of God. Reevaluate. You mevaish v'cholodam. Think about it again. Hashem made the value, not you. You're the boss. He's the boss. What are you worried about? You want to run His world? Don't worry about His world. You speak in Lashon Hara, you worry about your world. What were you to say? You got the value. You have the stamp of approval. What do you do? What do you do? There's a problem here. So because of that, I felt that. Baruch Hashem, I think it's a little chiddush. I want to talk about the anivus of Moshe Rabbeinu. It's brought down by the Mefarshim that anivus means what? Anivus means when they say Anoichi ofer ve'ether, Abraham says Anoichi ofer ve'ether, but Moshe Rabbeinu says V'nachnu more. So these are different madregas of the person towards himself who he is. He says Yesh midas anova v'yesh midas shval berach. Shval berach zeu she'enu machshiv es atzmo klum, kamo b'shor she'odam oise ha'cheshbon shehu bo mitipas rucha holim ma'ofer rima v'tela mishu shofar efshe shegam al ha'cherem. Same thing everybody. Who did b'midazu shegam heim einam nechsham l'klum. Aval midas avahi shemachabed es ha'cherem uma'amid oisam shehem oimdim lamala hemenu. So when the Ramban gives the reason that you look better in the other person, the only one who can do that is an anav. To see how I go the bad fall, only an anav in anivus can say, yes, he has something more than me, and I have less. That's anivus. Once you have anivus, it's already according to Rabbeinu Bachya. He brings a raya. He says anivus. He says is Ekiv Anova Yiras Hashem. So Rabbeinu Bachya, who's a Rishon, says the following: Anivus is a midah. Yiras Hashem is seichel. If you want to have Yiras Hashem, you have to be an onav. Onav is the midah which holds all the midos. And Anivus starts with you, Hashem in the foreground, and people in the background. And if you're in such a position, it's an impossibility. If you're mevaish michol adam, and talk, it's an impossibility to speak Lashon Hara. It's an impossibility. You have to be only positive and talk good about the king's mouth and see good. Because you're an honor, you have to see good, not bad. I have loads of kashas and terutzim. You have loads of kashas. Every Gemara have loads of kashas. Rabbi Vega went home with all his kashas. He had problems over there. He had problems with Rabbi Vega. And the Rabbi Aledo has thousands of all the kashas they had on every part of the Chumash. Kashas you have. What's the teretz? The teretz is Hashem is in the foreground. That's the teretz. Would you say that a child and an adult both believe Hashem Molas Kvaydai? Would they be in the same understanding Molas Kvaydai? In the same dimension? Is your Yirat Shamayim and another the same thing it was 10 years ago? If it's greater and more, so you have to act differently. It's an impossibility to be a Tamcha and an Onav to act the way anybody does. It has to be more and more. You have to find new koiches hanefesh in order to do it. So an Onav, according to the Ramban, the way I learned the Pshat, he has to see good in everybody in good eyes. And he has to see positive things. And talk positive about the Tzelem Elokim. And it has to have Hashem in the foreground. And has to wear every svara. No shayla about it. But the main point is, we gained a new concept of Hashem in the foreground. When I used to think about when I get up in the morning, and I say, Hashem in front of me, I always think Hashem is in front of me. And therefore, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I got to do this, I got to do that. But I forgot one story. Now I add the point. Hashem's in front of me. What am I going to do in front of Hashem? And how am I going to do it better in front of Hashem? How am I going to do more qualitative in front of Hashem? How am I going to learn in front of Hashem? At your age, how are you going to do things better in front of Hashem? And it's all recorded and all seen in the great universe of God's kingdom. How are you going to act differently and be different? And I mentioned, I want to finish off with it. I mentioned about the dolphin. The dolphin is a social animal, that it knows what's people around. The human being is 100 times greater. So the social thing around us is not just the background. This is our foreground. In the dolphin, people around him is the background, and he knows it's there, and he acts a little different around it, but acts a little different. He happens to feel funny because there's people look. That's called the social ego. For the Jewish people, there's not a social ego. We use the fact that our ego is Hashem. We have to be in front of Hashem, and Hashem is in front of us. And the Mela, we act differently. And that's the beginning of the Shulchan Aruch. And the Ramor that says, if you're in such a place, how can you do a thing like that? He quotes the Rambam. The answer is, in the learning that we learn, and we're learning Gemara, and Be'iyun is to what? To be Yirat Shamayim, to get close to Hashem, understand Das Torah. Not that I got an idea on a Sfar and I want to win. What's the Das Torah? What does Hashem really want? My Ratzon. So I brought down from the Alchemy Slabodka that what is tznius in learning? I ask you, what is tznius in learning? Hatzlah refers to men. That you make, after you learn, to make it more pashut, simpler and easier and sweeter. That's the tznius. There's tznius in learning. There's tznius in hanoga. Because when you're in front of Hashem, you want to reevaluate what you do and make it tznius in front of Hashem. If you're in front of Hashem, how are you going to do your pula in tznius? Forget about the grub kind of lashon hara b'peh that has upon him all the terrible things you're doing. But how are you going to do the tznius in front of Hashem? Hatzna lechazeh, which is the midah of a ben adam, of a talmid chacham. And therefore, an hog of a talmid chacham is different than a hog of an amoritz. Talmid chacham doesn't mean just knowledge. That was it. If he's oimed from Hashem, so he's makir and the Torah greater and deep in every way, and therefore in the Mela he's going to get to act differently in Hatzna Lech HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And part of Hatzna Lech is busha, and busha against everybody. It's oimed from Hashem. It's again the midah in the learning. Make it sweet, make it exact, simpler, pleasanter, sweeter, better way of doing it, and busha in front of the people. The Hatzna Lechas in front of Hashem, by definition. Any question?
Yes.
Yes.
We say about the Lashon Hara.
Yeah.
Ahad HaMkabel, Ahad HaOmer, v'Ahad HaMkabel. The same. This way is saying the Lashon Hara, and the other way is accepting.
Yeah.
And you say, Vadaber Miriam v'Aharon.
Yeah.
It means at least Aharon.
He got Matzoraz. He got Tzoraz, but it went away quickly. And she got it longer. Yeah, he got Tzoraz.
He was also
Yeah, Bada. I don't even know that. Yeah, push it.
Thank you.